So that's veganism. Veganism, non-animal products, some non-honey, and some other natures of wearing leather, possibly leather shoes or leather belt, these kind of things. So that, unless you're able to do periods of fasting or even become breatharian. The progress is generally decreasing red meat to a certain degree, and then pork and turkey for most, transitioning to more fish, eggs, and I don't like dairy, but some people do it, and generally you should avoid the dairy at all costs, even if you're a meat eater or non-vegetarian. Vegetarians using preference for health, preferencing eggs rather than dairy, kefir, sour cream, yogurt, milk, milk chocolate, these things, so, or milk powder or whey. So eggs much better. They afford better health, and about 74% of the population in most literatures now saying are allergic to dairy. The population. So in a family, 3 of 4 is pretty close to 75%. So that just gives you an indication of how many people are actually severe and have allergies to dairy. So once you're weaned from the titty, then avoid the milk. Amrit and diet. Amrit is important to understand because this is the chemical within the midbrain, possibly the ventricles. Although I don't think at this point science is actually for the most part clueless about this. Yogis and mystics becoming the forefront of these. That have done Shikari Mudra and allowed it for longevity and health and transference to a spiritualized being rather than a physical being. So Amrit's important, but it should be known that eating meat or alcohol and some other natures, but primarily meat, creates an action of trying to vomit up. And if you vomit up too much of the Amrit, then you don't get the spiritualized nature of Amrit. So some vomit is important or able to help you, your mind reframe and not become in the spacey, spiritualized realm that Amrit can do. But drinking Amrit through the Shikari Mudra is important, and the more you're able to do veganism as well as even breatharian and meditation, then Amrit is able to circulate through the body and become a help rather than a hindrance. So Kaya Kappas, we don't touch about too many Kaya Kappas. 2 that I'll express in this video that are important are herbs and metals, that being one of them. I've released in some other script writings that I've done. One powerful Kaya Kappa, and then the other Kappa Kappa that I've been working with, that's, I believe, an important Kaya Kappa that everyone should be on as able to afford, and even infrequently is important, is turmeric and ashwagandha combination. That again, ashwagandha and turmeric combined, and is good for joint longevity and anti-stress. So some key supplements that are important are ginger, rarely, but is still doable. Ginseng, turmeric, ashwagandha, gotu kola, and well, I said ginseng already, and licorice or rhodiola. So those are the important ones. Ginger, debatable if it's even all that important, but those other supplements are very important. Metals, gold, silver, platinum, and copper are important. Vegetable copper also important, and is found primarily in the higher or more powerful vegetarian-based foods, which is important to note because as you transition to a higher age, it's harder to assimilate iron from animal sources. And iron from plant sources becomes more focal because they're easier to digest and assimilate. There's the copper that we're talking about, very important. If you have too much copper, you may push out some zinc. And as this is important to note, zinc is also, as you decrease or become more vegan, zinc is depleted. Zinc important for immune system, but a lot of the immunity that is problematic with meat eating has to do with not the zinc nature, not getting enough of it, which occurs sometimes, but because of the bacteria that's found in the meat and mucus in meat, not only acrotic acid, but milk primarily, but some of the other meat that affords slugginess to the natty systems, where the natty systems are the energetic conduits found within the body, those 72,000 conduits, not just the 12 meridians that are found in acupuncture, but the whole system of natties that make up the energy field of the body. So zinc can be decreased and should be decreased, except for when needed in a vegan state. And you get some zinc even in things like pumpkin seeds and some other squashes and such. But copper increased, zinc decreased, and iron decreased, although the iron coming from plant-based products rather than meat sources. When we talk about wealth in the lifestyle of longevity, a good goal is to understand the billionaire mindset, where the billionaire mindset is chunking down from a high $1,000 million into 1,000 units sold to 1,000 people at between $1 and $10 a day. So it doesn't sound all that hard to create 1,000 systems of wealth that are sold to 1,000 people at between $1 and $10 a day. And that's how you go after the billionaire mindset. It's a lot easier to get your mind wrapped around 1,000 units to 1,000 people at between $1 and $10 a day for 20 years than it is to say I want $1,000 million. Budgeting and investing, important to do two things. One is to create a budget, and two, to invest. The nature of wealth and money secret is that if you decrease the needs and increase the revenue, then you're going to be moving ahead. So that's an important law of finances as well. And then the lifestyle of those that are longer lived are appreciating health, longevity, and not necessarily striving for wealth or private jets and stuff, which you could do, but essentially for health, longevity, and then occasionally cities. And today I put on a blog post at sohamahos.com, sohamahos.com, on a look at cities, the minor cities and the major cities, which are the occult powers developed through meditations and such. We've talked about work, continuing to work, or at least working to build passive sources of income so you don't have to work, where work becomes enjoyable and not a system of punishment or non-desire to work, and continually working until you've left Earth in whatever form you've left. Understanding yogas and what it takes. I spoke about the samadhis, and to end the cycles of reincarnation, it's espoused that you've achieved oneness with God or Goddess, which is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, not having to be reborn. And if you're reborn, then being able to ascend even higher to the states of Lord, Overlord, Devi, Devis, Mad Devis, and Mad Devis. Those, and then God or Goddess as what it takes. Family and longevity. If you're on the road for longevity, you're going to be seeing a lot of people passing before you, passing away before you, and that's important to understand, because if you're too affixed with that, then your mind can get shaken up a little bit. But if you're really true about wanting the longevity, then you'll meet a lot of people, and a lot of people will pass on before yourself. So it's important to understand Jesus was both funny and not so funny when he said, let the dead bury the dead. So do understand there's a system to it. You have to have remorse, but non-remorse and non-attachment to those before you pass away, or could hinder you, and you could get mental deconditioning to wanting to live longer. Shelter and longevity, where shelter could be anything from a cave to a tent to a cabin, that which is afforded, and generally you should use projections for 5, 10, 15, 20, and even longer out from yourself, just to see if you're budgeting correctly and you're earning enough to allow shelter, to allow your longevity, or the desire for longevity will be diminished, and the desire to extend life will become uprooted. And that's just the intro, guys. I'm going to say, if you've liked what you've heard on these introductory longevity and health seminars, then jump on board some of the other seminars, or make purchase of the inexpensive guides on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, I should say, or Sohamahos, SOHAMAHOS.com. Where there's many powerful advanced seminars, and they're all priced very affordably, so that anyone can afford.